Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me again. I have been so excited to do this for you guys because I love to eat. Yes, thank you. Anyways, before we get started, don't forget to hit those buttons down below, down here or down there. I think it's down here. I think they're down here. Yes, you know, the one that says like and subscribe. Please do, because I'm gonna have a lot of fun videos coming out this year, so I don't want you guys to miss anything. But anyways, Lunar New Year's is actually coming up really soon in February the 12th, I believe. But anyways, what that means for our family is that we are going to be eating a lot of food. We don't typically follow a lot of the traditions that you know, happen around Lunar New Year's, like clean your home and all this stuff, and don't shower on New Year's because you'll wash all your luck away, and a whole bunch of stuff. But we do try to come together as a family on Lunar New Year's Eve and have a really nice dinner together as a family. And what we typically do is we have a lot of exotic fruit around our homes. We gift it to each other and we share them during our dinners and whatever, because we believe it brings luck to everyone. I don't know. All I know is that this stuff tastes good. Anyways, what are we going to look at today? What are we going to try today? So I have here something called passion fruit. This is from Ecuador, passion fruit. And then this one is called dragon fruit, also from Ecuador. And then these here, persimmon. This one was actually from Spain, but I believe they normally come from China. But I like to buy these ones because they're a little bit rounder, but the ones from China are typically the flat ones. You can get these ones too from China, but I saw these in the grocery store and they said from Spain, so I thought I would give it a try. And they're actually pretty good. This here is pomelo. It's a citrus fruit. This one is actually like a grapefruit in a way, but I find these ones are a lot sweeter. They do typically come packaged like this in a net. Kind of hard to see through to the skin to see if it looks fresh or not. So, you know, when I do buy these things, you know, it's a hit or miss. You can't really, sometimes you can't really see through the packaging to see if the fruit is good or not. So I typically buy these based on weight. The heavier they are, the better, I guess. So sometimes they wrap them up like this. See, you can't even see them inside the bag. I mean, you could open it up if if it's an easy tie for you to open and close, but sometimes they are sealed and you can't even open them before you buy them. So yeah, generally I buy the ones that are heavy, and I mean, they all have been pretty good. So I don't know, but let's just get started, huh? So what I like to do is, for the citrus fruit, I like to put on these gloves. These ones are the Eco gloves. They come in a box like this and they easily dispense. They're great. They're actually, I know these are plastic, but I prefer using gloves like these for certain types of foods because I have had hand eczema over the last little while, and you know, anytime I may touch something like citrus for too long, my hands may, you know, act up, and so that's why I like to protect them. But I don't like using plastic a lot just because of environmental reasons, but I do enjoy using these ones because they are actually made from a renewable resource called sugarcane molasses. So that's a really big bonus for me. So when they are manufactured, they're actually a lot more eco-friendly, and because they come from a renewable resource, it doesn't harm the environment like it does when plastic is made from petroleum. So that's why I don't mind using these. They also come in Ziploc bag forms too, in this material, so it's really cool. That's why when Atomy came up with this product, I was actually really excited, because it's actually really hard to find a product that can protect my hands and things like that without it actually harming the environment too much. And you know, it would be great if these were biodegradable, but I have used some biodegradable products before and they just disintegrate on you and they don't last very long. So until I find something better than these, I guess these are it for now. but I do appreciate that these are made from a renewable resource, which is very important to me. So let's get the pomelo. So I've actually washed this already. What I've done is I've used our dish soap to give the skin a rinse. I actually use our dish soap to wash all the fruit that we eat. Even if we're not going to eat the skin, you never know what might be on the outside of our fruits and vegetables. So even if you're not going to eat the outside and you're touching the outside, it could still contaminate the parts of the inside, you know. So that's why it's always a good idea to wash your fruits and vegetables beforehand. And I like to use the soap because it actually does a really good job removing all the extra residue and pesticides and dirt and whatever that might be sitting on top of the skin. It does it really well, and it's safe to eat too. So just in case you didn't do a good job washing off the soap, it's okay. You can eat it, but it's not going to taste very good. But because it's food grade, it's safe to use on your produce. Another thing I love to use is our pink latex gloves. The reason why I like to use this for cleaning is because of the texture that's on the glove. So when I'm using them on things like fruit, it acts like a kind of like a brush, and because it's textured, it helps remove a lot of the stuff that's on the surface. So that's why I love to use those things. Anyways, let's grab our knife here. So I have the Atomy chef's knives right here. This is the vegetable one here. So these are great because these are very high quality steel that does not rust. And for Japanese knives made of this quality, I was actually surprised by how much I actually paid for this. I didn't pay very much for this one, and it doesn't rust. And I've used it for almost a year now, and I haven't actually sharpened it yet. So they are starting to feel slightly dull, so I think I'm going to have to sharpen them really soon. But I'm just surprised because I've been using these for so long now, and I haven't had to sharpen them yet. It's probably been about 9 months now of me using these, and I haven't had to sharpen them like I have other brands. Anyways, okay, so with the pomelo, I'm going to slice the top off, and then I'm going to score the outside of the pomelo just so that it makes peeling a lot easier. Okay, so for this I'm going to use, I don't know, I can use any knife, I guess. I do use this one when I need to do more like precision work because of the pointed tip, but I do use this one when I'm slicing anything else that doesn't require any precision work. So this to me is kind of really nice for chopping vegetables and things like that, but I do use it to slice meat too, right? But for this I'll just use this knife and slice it right down like that. So that's it. And then you can throw that away. And then, so you don't want to press down too hard and slice it all the way through to the flesh. You just kind of score the skin a bit. Be gentle, especially if you're using a sharp knife like this, and it can slice right through the fruit. So I'm just going to gently go around. This makes it a lot easier to peel. And my dad actually used to make us pomelo hats. Oh my God. So he would peel the fruit like this and actually make hats for us when we were kids. And I remember the citrus would like kind of burn our eyes a bit, but the adults would love it and they would laugh their heads off. And like, it was great entertainment for the adults. Thank you very much. You're welcome. But I don't do it to my kids, but he still does it for other little kids that want one. Anyways, that's all you do. You just stick your thumb kind of at the top here where you've sliced off the top, and you just push down a bit, and you can actually feel kind of in between the flesh and the skin of the fruit, and then you just peel away. Just like that. So, pomelo's a bit unique because I actually find it quite easy to peel the skin off. Don't know why, but other citrus fruits, sometimes I have a lot of trouble peeling the skin off. It's like stuck to the flesh, but this one, I've never had any issues actually. And all you do is you just work your way around and then you peel it off, just like that. And so you can kind of see how this could work as a hat. You would flip it up like that, and then you can put it on top of your head. But I'm not going to do that because it's a bit, yeah, I don't want that on my head. Anyways, you might get a little bit of this extra white stuff here. You can kind of peel it off if you want. You don't have to. It doesn't really make a difference to me. But I'm just going to show you what you could do. Just like that. I'm going to put that aside. Okay? So usually, this top has a bit of a hole, but usually the top is sealed like this. So what I do then is I would flip it to the bottom and there would be a hole there. But I would look at the top and bottom, see where I can stick my thumbs in, and at the top there's a bit of a hole in the fruit. So what I'm going to do is just kind of stick my thumb in here a bit and then just rip the fruit in half, just like that, okay? And then with the pomelo, you don't actually want to eat the membrane of the fruit, this part here. You only want to eat the stuff that's in between the membrane, okay? So this part right here, just like that. And put that there. And then you just peel away. So what I do for my kids, because they're really lazy, they don't like to peel these things. I mean, a lot of the fruit that they eat, I have to prepare for them because they either don't know how to do it or they're just lazy. But I don't mind because they love the stuff and it makes them happy when I do peel it for them. So what I do sometimes is I'll put on a nice show and I'll just sit and peel a few of these, actually, not just one pomelo, but I'll sit there and peel like 3 or 4 at a time and put in a container for them. And that's all I do. You just kind of peel away at the membrane. You know, it's not a lot of, it's not too difficult, I would say, but sometimes you might end up with a pomelo that might be, you know, a bit finicky. I think a bit lucky with this one. It's actually really easy to peel, but sometimes you will get the ones where maybe the pomelo is a bit young or too old, and the membrane will just be stuck to the flesh and you can't even peel it away. This one's actually not too bad. And that's all you do. You just kind of peel around like that. Sometimes it has seeds. These ones have tiny seeds. You can't even see them actually. But that's all you do. You just peel away the membrane. And then you got some fruit there. Just like that. Okay, so that was pomelo. I'm just going to move these aside. I'm just going to take these gloves off now and save them for later. Finish up the fruit later. Okay, but next we're going to, why don't we do the persimmon? So what I'm going to do is, there's this thing on top of the fruit. I don't know what it looks like, but kind of like a 4-leaf clover. I don't know. It's like the stem part. But well, it's a bit ripe. So you kind of want to get your thumb inside towards the middle of the stem a bit, and you just pull up like that, just like that. And it should kind of just peel off. When it's not ripe like this and it's a bit harder, this part is a little bit tougher to peel off. But I'm going to use the pointed knife because there's a little bit of black around it. It's not mold or anything, it's just when this fruit does ripen, it typically does have a lot of black spots in certain parts of the fruit. It's not bad or anything, that's just what happens when this fruit ripens. But I'm just going to cut off a little bit of the black because if my kids see a little bit of this stuff, they might avoid it and not eat it. So that's it, but everything else is fine. So what I do with this is I like to just slice them up kind of like an apple or something. Doesn't really matter, but it looks like that when you cut it up. But when I cut it this way, you can kind of see like a little flower. So cool, if you can see that. So I just slice it up like an apple or a pear. Just like that. you could actually just eat it as is if you wanted without slicing it up at all. You could actually just remove the stem and eat it like an apple if you wanted to. Depending on how hard it is or soft it is, it might be okay if you just held it like an apple, but if it was too hard or maybe too ripe, you might not be able to do that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to cut open for you is the passion fruit. So this one here is typically what the passion fruit would look like when you first buy it at the store. When you do leave it for a bit, it'll start to turn to a darker color. This is just a sign that it's ripening. It's not bad or anything. I typically actually leave it until it gets a little bit darker, so then it's a little bit more ripe. But when you do open these ones like this, they're fine to eat too. I do find that these ones are a bit sweeter. So what you could do is you could dig your nails into them and rip them apart. It kind of reminds me of a sea urchin when I do this, but what I like to do when I'm kind of lazy to use a knife, I'll just break the skin a bit like this with my nail. It's actually really easy to do. You can kind of hear it. Just like that, and kind of give it a little bit of squeeze and pull apart at the same time. So it can go like that, okay? Or I'm gonna take that same one again, use my knife here, I'm just gonna give it a quick clean. Just be careful because the skin is a little bit slippery, and if you're using a knife that's not sharp, you can slide on the fruit and cut your finger. But if it's a sharp knife, I mean, if it's a dull knife, then you might not cut your finger. But I do find that when your knife is too dull but still sharp, you could hurt yourself. So be careful because this skin is very slippery. Anyways, you could just slice it down like this. You can open it up that way too. Okay, and all you do is you could actually just grab a spoon and eat it from its shell like this, or you can actually just scoop it up. So what you can do with passion fruit is you can actually make bubble tea or have it on top of smoothies or something. In bubble tea, I actually have passion fruit in place of pearls. So instead of having all that, you know, stuff that's going to just add to your weight, I prefer using passion fruit instead of pearls. But it'll just kind of fall away from the shell, just like that. And the inside looks like, can you see that? Kind of cool. So it just kind of falls away. It doesn't really like stick to the fruit like pomegranate or something. This is way easier than pomegranate. That's why I don't eat pomegranate. Pomegranate is too difficult, but that's it. The passion fruit, oh, there's still a little bit here. Let's get rid of this. And then the next one we're gonna do is dragon fruit. I washed this one already, yep. So, I'm gonna take my knife again. I'm gonna give this a, actually I'm gonna use this one. Okay, so, I mean, you could cut this up any way you want, but I like to cut it like this. Just down the middle, like that, to kind of create two halves. Just makes it easier, I think. And I mean, you could go like this again. And then what I like to do is kind of peel it like an orange. Like this. And then you can have them, I mean, you can have big pieces like that. Or what you can do is before you peel it is slice it in the middle like this. Okay, and then goes in the bowl like that. Okay, depending on what you're using the fruit for, because some people do like to plate their fruit in a very pretty way. You might need to cut the fruit, you know, depending, yeah, exactly. Depending on what you're building, you just might need to cut your fruit differently, that's all. I just like it like this because it's like a nice mouthful. Just like that. Okay, So why don't we give some of the fruit a try now? I'm gonna clean my hands. So let's start with passion fruit. So passion fruit doesn't really taste like anything. It's kind of hard to describe, but depending on when you cut it, it could be slightly tangy, but it's generally fairly sweet. And I slurp it sometimes, and it's so good. The crunching you hear is actually each of the seeds kind of popping in my mouth. And it's so good. Sometimes it's kind of, well, sometimes it's kind of stuck together in like chunks like that. Maybe you kind of whip it a little bit with your spoon or fork, it'll actually break up really nicely. So when you put it into like a cup, you can actually use it in place of pearls. So make a smoothie or something, or your favorite drink, and you can actually just add it to your cup as though you're drinking bubble tea. And it's actually really nice. Or I put it on top of vanilla ice cream, that's really good too. Or I'll just eat it as is, and it's actually really good the way it is too. Okay, this is next. Dragon fruit is really interesting because when I first ate it when I was younger, I actually thought it was kiwi, but like a different variety. So it actually kind of slightly has like a little hint of something similar to a kiwi fruit, but it's kind of like a cross between that and a pear. So it's actually kind of hard to describe, but it's really nice. It's really juicy, really sweet. Let's give it a try and make sure it is really good. So good. Let's have one more just to make sure it's good. Oh my god. It's so sweet. Okay, next. Pomelo. Pomelo is actually one of my favorite citrus fruits because I actually like grapefruit too a lot, but I prefer pomelo the most because you can get such big pieces out of the fruit. It's not like an orange or anything, right? Where the fruit's way smaller, but because the pomelo is bigger, I get way more fruit, and I love that. But the taste and the texture too, it's so unique to any other citrus fruit that I've ever tried. And most of the time it's sweet and juicy, just the right amount of juice. It's so good. Let's give this one a try now. Has like a slight, like very, very subtle bitterness like grapefruit, like very, very subtle. But then kind of the rest of the flavor is very sweet and juicy. It's so good. And it's so cool too because you can hold the fruit like this in your hands without the membrane, and it sticks together. That's why I love this fruit. That one's a good one. Last but not least is the persimmon. Where's my, oh, right here. So persimmon is very unique too because there's nothing I can really compare it to except maybe a mango, but it's just got like a more silky kind of texture. And because I've left it until it got to this point in ripeness, it's super soft and super sweet. And I know that because every time I do leave it up to this point, it's almost translucent, and I know it's going to be like sugar. But enough talking. So you can, it's so good. You can actually get these dried too. Kind of cool. Kind of like a big raisin, but persimmon. I really love this fruit because, when I am craving something bad to eat, I'll actually cut up a persimmon if I have it in the house, because this Really, really hits the sweet tooth when it's ripe. But if I'm impatient and I'm not allowing it to ripen enough, it'll be really crunchy. And you can actually still eat it at that time too. I just prefer waiting until it's a bit sweeter. But that's about it. So, I hope you learned a little bit about some of the fruits that you may have seen in the grocery store. They're not as scary as you think. They're not that difficult to, cut open and try. And if you have any questions about anything, just let me know down below in the comment section. I will respond to you because I love to talk. I keep looking at this because it's so good. But anyways, before I put this in my mouth, I just want to say thank you for joining me again today, and come back again for my next video. Bye!